Hello, everybody. Welcome back to PC's Playbook. This is, I guess, my playbook. Today is a different kind of episode. Usually, I am here just talking to the camera or have a guest on. I'm talking about football. I'll be like, these guys were going Super Bowl, blah, blah. Today's different. As you know, March Madness, depends on when I post this, March Madness is either concluded, is in progress, or is about to finish. Or just started. Depending on when I post this, it's the best time of the year. It's March Madness, or it's just after the best time of the year. And in this time, at least where I am right now, which is 3 days before it begins on Monday, before the Thursday of the first round, everyone immediately goes to the first thing on their minds when Selection Sunday ends. The first thing in their minds is, how do I get the perfect bracket? Of course, something that's never been done before, because it's statistically impossible. It is, it's as likely as getting struck by lightning 3 times while winning the lottery twice. Statistically impossible. Unless, yes, that is correct. I am going to be making a perfect bracket. Now, everyone online, every YouTuber, every podcast does the exact same thing. They say what I just said. Oh, this is the perfect bracket. Follow this, and me and you will both have a perfect bracket. Except for, I'm saying that with a bit less of a promise on it. Mine is more of like perfect bracket, maybe. Like, I'm not going to get, statistically, I'm not going to get a perfect bracket. But I can get, through round 1, maybe even better round 2. And that's kind of the main goal, is to have a little fun, have a little bit of excitement once you get past day 1, day 2, and you're like, oh my God, I'm still perfect. That's my main goal here. But how am I going to do it exactly? That's a good question, viewer. Thank you for asking it, even though I asked myself that. I'm going to do it with a bit of old-fashioned science, more or less experimental science, of how am I supposed to get the best bracket. Because I know, I know I'm not going to get a perfect bracket, but how do I get the best one? What is the best strategy? Some people flip a coin. Some people just pick by vibe. Some make a complex code and run it 50 times like I did and get 50 different brackets. So today, my goal is to see how far I can get with different strategies. I'll be using 2 strategies. One is just me just making a bunch of brackets. I think I'm gonna make maybe 100, maybe even more brackets, just vibes. And then I have already written a code that will randomly weighted by seed. So it's like the 1 versus 16. The 16 will basically never win, but it's possible because it's random. And like the 8 versus 9 is about 50-50, and like goes on through rounds. I've written a code with a bit of help from ChatGPT that will give me an entire simulated March Madness bracket. I will then fill out a bracket to the T of that, and then that's submission. So it is basically randomness versus someone who actually wants to like make correct choices, who knows ball. It really is the robots versus the humans here. It really is, even though I made the code, the robot made a bit of the code at ChatGPT. It is the robots versus the humans. It is the pure randomness versus the actual ball knowledge. Because in the past, if you look at how people fail in these March Madness brackets, they have bias. Like, I have bias towards the University of North Carolina. I feel like I will not be picking VCU in a lot of my brackets because they're playing UNC, but the robot doesn't know the difference between them. They just know there's 6 and 11. They just know numbers. So it's very likely that I get absolutely crushed by this robot, or I just have the perfect bracket and robots have to, therefore, bow down to me for the rest of time. The time I'm filming this, it is Monday. The tournament starts on Thursday. I've already made a few brackets because, on Sunday night and then Monday morning, you kind of just like, oh my God, the bracket just came out. I'm going to film out. But I've got to make a lot more brackets. So I will see you on Thursday.
It's Thursday.
But before Thursday, I spent hours and hours making brackets from the AI and by me with ESPN and many other sites, getting over 250 brackets, which spent a lot of time. and I could barely even get it done before the early window on day one. As the early window began, I started with over 250 perfect brackets. Now, I was at a friend's house for the first 2 games, so I didn't really vlog too much to start, but I had already shrunk down to under 60 perfect brackets 3 games in, mostly from TCU beating Ohio State in the first game.
We're about 3 games in? I think I have around
51 perfect brackets.
I think just on ESPN I have around 51. I think I might have maybe 75-ish, maybe 80, maybe to 100 left. But the big one I'm worried about is that Duke is losing by 6 to Siena. And
Stay safe, baby.
I mean, as a UNC fan, I would love Duke to lose this, but I would lose every single bracket.
How many brackets do you have High Point winning?
Not as many, but they probably won't beat Wisconsin. That's also what I'm worried about, is Wisconsin losing to High Point. I mean, honestly, I will give up per bracket for Duke to lose in the first round to a 16 seed. I will give that up.
Because money goes away, but Duke losing to a 16 seed doesn't.
It never goes away.
Yeah.
All right, last play of the game. Wisconsin. Not 8 seconds left. Oh my God! Foul him! Oh my God!
Wow.
So we're 4 games in. High Point just beat Wisconsin, and I am down to, I think, 15 perfect brackets total. Starting with around.
Just so y'all know, I have 6 and I made like 200 less than him.
Well, okay, this is my video, man.
Yep.
I believe that they're about half my brackets and half the kind of AI bracket. So right now it's very neck and neck. I am worried about this Vanderbilt game. I chose Vanderbilt in almost every single one of my brackets remaining, and they are losing McNeese right now. And also, of course, Duke is bound by 15 or 13, whatever, at halftime, and I picked them in, of course, every single bracket. So I'll check in after those. So we're 8 games in, meaning we're halfway through day 1, and I'm already just so cooked. Only 10 remaining perfect brackets. Most of them are my brackets, meaning that I'm currently beating the AI, but, it never really ends well. However, most of the games were limited by a High Point, who I did not have much belief in, but, they obviously proved me wrong. And coming up soon is UNC VCU, who I have. UNC picked about half of the ones that are left perfect, and VCU picked the other half. So either way, I think I'll have about 5 brackets by the end of that game. Hopefully I have at least 1 by the end of day 1. If I don't, that's kind of embarrassing after making over 200 brackets. But yeah, wish me luck. Go Heels. It has been very long since I last filmed. It is now 10:14 p.m. The Texas A&M, UNC, and Texas games just finished, which were 3 back-to-back upsets, including knocking out my Tar Heels, which is heartbreaking. But also, with the loss of BYU, after not even the last game of day 1, after 12 games, I am down to 0 perfect brackets, which is insane. It now really goes down to not how far can I go, but what does better, me or the AI. Currently, the best bracket I have, or the 2 best brackets I have, are me. I have a few that are kind of close, but I'm winning currently, is what I'm saying. But either way, pretty harsh first day to have a 12, 2 11s, a 10. I really thought Ohio State was going to beat TCU. Not great first day for me. And, I guess we're on day 2. It's Friday morning. Day 2 is today of March Madness. I went to bed and didn't really watch the last few games. After the UNC game, I was just so cooked by the end of the day. I just crashed, went to sleep. And when I woke up, I, checked my brackets. I have 8 that are tied for the best bracket. I think I have 15 or 14 correct on those out of 16. And of those 8, 6 of them were made by me. The other 2 were the AI. So currently, although I'm not technically winning, I'm looking good. My strategy of just picking it by myself and not using a code I wrote is looking pretty good. But I guess we'll see how day 2 goes. I mean, day 1, a lot of upsets. I picked a lot of upsets. The AI was very chalky, so I guess it could very well go poorly for me today if there's a lot less upsets. I think most of my brackets I have like Northern Iowa and like random like 13 seeds winning, and that does not happen very often. I'm just a bit of an upset guy, and that happened a lot yesterday, so those brackets did well. Checking back in Friday around 6 p.m. My brackets are looking a lot better today than they were yesterday, especially because there's like been no upsets so far. Even the games that are going on right now are the teams that are the better seed are winning. So, I mean, the first day was a bit rocky because all the upsets, but today I have some brackets that are doing really well. But they are kind of, depending on what they are, it's different. I have 2 brackets that are only have 1 off. One of them is my bracket. One of them is the AI bracket. I have a bunch that have 2 off, a bunch that have 3 off, and those are kind of just like even. So right now, for who is winning, it's pretty tight. I mean, it's hard to make a judgment on what is doing better yet, and that's gonna have to go to round 2. I personally thought that this video was going to be round 1. Maybe I get I have 1 bracket through day 1. That's perfect. Or like something that, lasts a bit longer, and I have 1 bracket that's so much far ahead of everything else, that I call it and I say, okay, AI is better than me, or I'm better than the AI, but it is neck and neck. So I am going to keep filming this through round 2, and I'll see you tomorrow. Another day 3 update. After a few games, I have 2 brackets in the top 5,000. I think actually maybe top 4,000. After the Tennessee versus Vanderbilt versus UVA game. However, I have both brackets having Florida winning, and they're getting crushed, and both brackets having UCLA beating UConn, which is very unlikely to happen, but never say never. And they're both made by me. I am feeling, pretty good about my skills right now. I feel a bit excited that I have 2 brackets in the top, couple thousand in the world, right now. So, that's neither of them are made just by AI or made by me. So that makes me feel pretty good. And right now I am crushing the AI, the code that I wrote, in these brackets. Like, it is not even close because they picked a lot of chalk. I did not. So, that looks like a pretty conclusive evidence that I'm going to win. This is an update at the end of day 3 and day 4 just started. The first game ended. Purdue beat Miami. Right now, it has started to be a lot more evident that the AI is struggling in later rounds. As I myself am cooking up in the first second round games, I have 2 brackets that are tied at the 13,000th in the world spot, which is pretty cool. And I think 8 out of my top 10 brackets right now are made by me, and the 2 that are AI are like 7th and 9th. So right now it is looking a lot like I am the one that will be taking home the championship, I guess, versus the man versus machine battle. But, it does always, come to a point where the madness starts becoming a bit more chalky. The ones who start winning, and that's when the AI will take over. As it had a lot more chalky champions, that's my main concern, is that I know when I pick Arkansas, that'll pick Duke, and Duke will be a lot more consistent than Arkansas to winning. And don't mind this. This is a prank for my sister. She put this in my room, and I forgot to take it down. So, but right now, back to the point. Right now, I am doing better just because it's a bit more madness. Texas winning was something that I predicted more than the AI would, as its version of the 11 vs 3 is really chalky to the 3. And hopefully today, there's a bit more madness because, this day 2 of March Madness and day 4, day 2 wasn't a lot of madness, so I would imagine that it would be more chalk today as well. It's already 1 chalk game. And, Iowa State is currently losing to Kentucky, but I don't see them having too much problems with them. But yeah, we'll see. Bracket update, it has been a while. I think the last time I talked was the end of round 2, in which at that point it was pretty clear that I was doing better than the AI. And my plan was that a few Sweet 16 games happen, and maybe a few Elite 8 games happen, and once something shakes up, I vlog about it and say something about it. But nothing has shaken up. It has been so just strong that I currently am doing better than the AI. I mean, it has been a different bracket that's doing better. Like, there's one bracket that had Duke winning that's doing better, one that had Illinois winning, that had Tennessee, one that had Michigan, but they're all maybe me. I'm in all of them. So right now it seems pretty obvious, but the big thing is the winner of it. The AI picked a lot more 1 seeds to win. Me, I really like doing a tournament, UConn and Illinois, teams that are still in, but I have winning in a lot of my brackets, and if they don't win, then the AI could come up and maybe get the first place spot, but I don't see getting many of the top 10. Right now, it seems pretty obvious that I'm going to be, but I mean, like, the brackets I made are doing better than the brackets the AI made. Also, I like to say, no bracket talk. As a diehard UNC fan, the game today, Duke versus UConn, because this is after the 8 game, was absolutely amazing, and I am ecstatic right now to watch Duke lose. It is just, I mean, it's unreal how it ended. But, I mean, hey, go Huskies, I guess. And yeah, I think a big part of why I'm doing better than the AI is that I, myself, am a Duke hater, and so I'm gonna pick Duke to lose. But, like, you can see, I'm gonna show screenshots here, you can see my brackets are, like, really, really fluctuating on every single round how they're doing. Like, I think at one point I had one bracket in the top 2,000, and it fell immediately after one Elite 8 game to 240,000, because points on ESPN, which is the main point I'm doing my brackets on, go up and down so much by round. Like, I think you can get perfect through day 1, and I believe, through round 1, and still get the same amount of points if you just pick the winner. So I guess it's gonna be really hard to see the top. I think I'm gonna have like the top 10, like, the stats at the end. But right now it seems pretty clear that the winner, at least number 1, is going to be won by me. And we might see 2 or 3 by the AI, but it's not looking great for them right now, especially because they made a lot of chalk, and I pick a lot of, not chalk, like Illinois and UConn, who are in the Final Four. I'll talk to y'all next round. So the Final Four is concluded and has shaken up the brackets a lot. It's gotten to the point where I have a bracket in the lead by a lot. It's a PC Holderness bracket. I have my Victor Wembanyama France jersey. PC Holderness, I made it bracket, right? That's in first by about 100 points. But because ESPN values these Final Four on national championship points, which is where my bracket's so high, they value them so high that the AI brackets have started to gain a lead. And not a lead on, the first place, as I have first place pretty confidently, but the top 10. And to the point where it is now down to the last game, where if UConn wins the national championship game, the AI wins. If Michigan wins, then I win. No matter what, AI might still get more, in the top 10, which is not great, given how I had a pretty confident lead going into the 8, but the Final Four was not good. I had a lot of Illinois, I believe in them, I had a lot of Arizona, and they had a lot of Michigan and UConn, which are, of course, the 2 teams in there. So I'll be watching tonight, and, if Michigan wins, which you will know, then I will win. And then I will, of course, tomorrow, my, big, overview and results segment of this will be shown. All right? Well, I guess go Wolverines.
As the game got started and got going, it was obvious it was going to be a really close game. Michigan would take a lead, UConn would go on a run, and then Michigan would take a lead again, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, Michigan did pull it off, and I did get that win. That brings us to right now. Right now, I am doing my overview, my basically rapid reactions, and the results of this experiment of man versus machine in NCAA bracket making. I will reveal just the top 10 brackets. I made a lot of brackets, and I'm just revealing the top 10. Surprisingly, I made about 150 on ESPN and about 100 on other sites. It did take a while because every site, tallies points differently. But I did only have one other site get a top 10 result besides the ESPN ones. I think the other sites that I was making them on was a lot of the AI, that I was using for this one. But of course, Man made one in the end, and I think they did a bit better overall. Starting with 10th is one made by me, which I will be showing a screenshot of somewhere on this, view. Of course, Michigan winning. I had Michigan winning in all the top 10 ones. If pick the favorite or if pick the champion, it gets you a lot more points. This one I think is ranked somewhere in the millions. I checked it a few minutes ago, but I haven't checked it yet. But somewhere in the millions. And for a top 10 bracket, it's not too bad, but I feel like I could have done a bit better. In 9th is the one bracket that is not ESPN, is in 9th. It's from Walter Picks, of all places. This one is made by me. Again. So far, 10th and 9th, which is, pretty good start for me. And this one was the one made by Walter Picks. I had Michigan playing Illinois in the national championship game, which, of course, didn't happen, but the rest of the bracket was still good enough to get it in 9th. I think it had a pretty confident lead throughout the bracket. I think it was in second place at one point, and then it fell to 9th after the UConn beat Illinois. But then after Michigan won, I think it went from 20th back to 9th. 8th place is another one of mine. Very strong start here. It is very evident that it's going to be mostly my brackets to start here. Again, we're still in the millions here, so that's not great for the ranking, but for 8th place, it's not terrible. 7th place is very similar, still in the millions, still made by me. So far, I've swept 4-0, but it is the back end of the top 10, so calm down. I did pick up Michigan in a lot more of these than the AI did. The AI picked a lot of one seeds, but leaned more towards Duke and Arizona, because it's hard to make it so that the one seeds are very different. So when it was 2 1 seeds playing a national championship game or 2 in a Final Four game, because usually it's just 1 over 2 is a blah, blah, amount of chance, 1 over 16 is that. When it was a 1 versus 1, it was random. And the random chance did not like Michigan. So I picked a lot more Michigan, which is why I'm starting out really strong here. But I did pick some Michigan, so, it's not, spoiler alert, I didn't sweep the top 10. But, these are very similar in the first 4. It's, again, in the millions. But 6th, though, is the first AI bracket we see. It's still in the millionth ranking on ESPN Worldwide, which I think there's about 30 million brackets. This one was AI's first top 10, not their last. Also picked Michigan. This one actually had a decently slow start. I believe they picked a lot of weird upsets and did not pick all of the upsets that did happen. But all they really needed was they needed that UConn versus Michigan, or I forgot. There was a lot of Final Four Elite 8 points. That's a common theme you'll see throughout. The brackets had slow starts and then finished strong with a lot of points from the national championship game. Back to business as usual at the 5 spot at 1.4 million. Still, I feel like I could have gotten a lot more in the top 1 million, but I guess at 5 it's not too shabby. But making a lot of brackets, it is a bit difficult to, get that many high ranked. But this one, again, had a very fast start, actually. This one's pretty fast, and then had a pretty bad second, then third round, and then picked it back up towards the end. I was tracking this one specifically. It is hard to, I know you might think, it's really hard to track because it's, they're all called PC Holderness if they're made by me, and then the ones that are the AI are ESPN fan, blah, blah, blah. But the PC Holderness ones, I would just kind of open a tab on my computer on that one and then just not close it so that it would still be in the same bracket. I also had different emails I had made so I can make sure I can differentiate it a little bit. But this one I was tracking early. It was one of my last perfect ones and still did not get into the top 4. Moving on to number 4, still not top 1 million, which is not great. But I think Michigan was one that I did not pick as often, and the AI definitely did not pick as often. But in this, they did, and this gets the AI their second part into the top 10, which is 6 and 4, and 4th place. And this one I didn't really track that much. I think it might have a slow start, but I tracked a few brackets, and this is not one of them. But it had definitely a fast finish, getting Michigan and getting into the top 4. Must have had, I think, a perfect Final Four and probably a perfect Elite 8 to get into the top 4. Finally, finally cracking the top 1 million. Top 500,000 here is the third place, made by the AI again. You can see the AI kind of shows up later here because if they did pick Michigan, which is their one thing that I had again, like I had better than them, is that I picked Michigan more than them. If they did pick Michigan, the rest of their bracket was pretty good on those. Like the ones that they picked Michigan in were really good. So they have some more at the top here that are a bit, concerning to me. They have fourth and third now, and they had sixth. But this one finally cracks top 1 million. I felt like we could have gotten a bit earlier. But, it is what it is, and we have some better than this, though. So in second place at 218,000th is another AI bracket. My goal for this, of what I could try to get was top 100,000 for one or two brackets, and I did not get it 2 brackets, but this one was pretty close. I think it was at one point top 100, like top 10,000, and then had a bit of a rocky finish, but then got Michigan right, which put it into that second spot, which is still pretty impressive, but can't really track a bracket for that long and it ends well or ends poorly. It's very iffy with ESPN and a lot of points in the final round. It's really hard to have a great start, great middle, great finish, and then missed a winner. I had one bracket that was really, really good throughout. I think had a great start, like it was number 1, great middle was number 1, great finish number 1, and then Arizona lost and it fell completely out of top 10. So this one I was not too sure about, but it got to the second spot. And at number 1, of course, I talked about it earlier, my best bracket, ranked at 18,000th in the world, is one made by me. The last few brackets have been AI, but as long as the best one is by me, it gives me some reassurance that I at least have a little bit of ball knowledge when it comes to college basketball. This one was my best by about 200,000 ranks in the world, which is pretty crazy because this exceeds my goal by a long shot at 18,000th. This one had a really bad start. I did not track it in the first round. I do not think it was on that first page of ESPN of my big group that I have tracking all of them. And had a bad first round. Second round, if you have a bad first round, the second round's a bit rough to come back from. So the second round was also a bit rough. But I think it had a bunch of the major upsets in the second round. I think it had Iowa going far. And then once they got to the Sweet 16, it had maybe 2 wrong in the Sweet 16, not a single one right, so not a single one wrong in the Elite Eight, not a single one wrong in the Final Four, not a single one wrong in the National Championship. I mean, there's only one National Championship game. But, from Iowa going to the Elite Eight, from, Nebraska and all these teams from Texas, and, there were some upsets that I do not even remember picking. I think I was just, trying to get all of the possibilities. I don't even remember picking them, and I see them going far, and I see it happening as I'm watching this. This is when I started tracking it in the Sweet 16, and it did really well, and it got first place at 18,000th. So finishing it off, here is the complete top 10 based off of if it's me or the AI. Overall, I had 6 in the top 10. The AI had 4, which I think is enough proof. And also getting first place is enough proof to say that man defeated machine in this. Now, let's really think about this a bit more. On this, it's a podcast, so I want to at least talk about it for a second. This AI I created, the code I wrote, and then also, ran it by an actual AI. But this code I wrote is very fact-based. It is very odds and statistics, and, it's just putting a number in there and randomizing it by a certain chance. It is very hard to say that an average human will beat this. I think I might have just gotten lucky because I felt pretty good about this code I wrote. I felt like it could destroy me. Now, luckily, I just have ball knowledge. Simply. No, I did probably get lucky. But I do feel pretty good about how brackets are being created by humans, because every year we get closer and closer to perfect bracket. And I think it will happen eventually. And I think if a perfect bracket is going to happen, it's not going to be by a fact, number cruncher. Like this AI, great code. It's not going to be the thing to do it. The thing to do it is going to be a random kid who does not watch basketball in their basement, on a random Sunday night. That's going to be who's going to get the perfect bracket. It's not going to be me, because I think too much about it. This AI thinks too much about it. It's going to be some random kid. And next year, I'm going to try to do this again. I'm going to do something like this. I want it to be a lot more complex next year. Next year, I want this to be a complete, perfect bracket is the ultimate goal. That is the goal. That is not a faraway dream. That is the goal. I know that may sound crazy. That is the goal. I am going to create a lot more brackets next year. I am going to work on this code now. I'm going to keep working on it until it's better and better. I'm going to create spreadsheets, y'all, for my brackets. I created some this year. I'm going to create spreadsheets to know that I'm perfect through day one no matter what. If High Point did not beat Wisconsin, I had spreadsheets I will scroll through it. Every single 6, 11 seed, 7, 10 seed, 8, 9 seed, every single possibility was covered. Every single possibility. If High Point did not beat Wisconsin, I would have maybe 10 perfect brackets after day one, which is insane. Next year, it's going to move to 5-10, 5-12. That possibility can get covered. Through day one, I would like to be perfect, and then past then, I like to be as perfect as I possibly can, because I think it is possible, and I think that I want to do it. Now, I know that's kind of crazy, and I am with you on that. It's crazy. But next year, it's going to happen.